Welcome everyone. In this video, we're going to discuss two different formulas that we often use when we talk about compound interest. And I'll show you how both of them are identical. They look different, but they'll give you the exactly same values, depending on which one you prefer to use or depending on which one you have been introduced to in your class. So the two formulas are the following. So we have for compound interest, you have this one, let's call this one number one. You have A, which is the future value or maturity amount. Maturity value, this is equal to P times 1 plus I to the power of N. So in this formula, A is representing our future amount or the maturity value. Then you have P is the principal amount. Then we have I. Now, I is a little technical. It has another definition. This is the R over M. Now, we need to define what is R, what is M. So note that if I is defined as this formula, then from this formula, R is going to be the interest rate, which is expressed in decimal. Then you have M, which is going to represent the number of compounding period in a year. Then we have the exponent N. Now that also has a different definition. This will be M times T. So you have to remember them. Now here, M is the same thing. That's the compounding period in a year. So you can compound it once a year, annually, twice a year, semi-annually, and so on. So that means N, which we have it as the exponent, will now become M times T, where M is the compounding period, and T, we know it's going to be time, and of course, always in years. So that's for this specific formula. Now, there's another formula that some textbook uses. Let's call this one number 2. Now, this one, it is going to be A. So A is same A as the previous one. P times 1 plus R over N to the power of N times T. So there is a slight change, not much, but the definition of each variable it's slightly different, not too much. So A is the same as this future value. So there's nothing changes from A from the first formula to the second formula. So that's exactly as it is. P is the same thing. That's your principal amount or the present value or the loan amount if you're discussing loan. So we just copy them over. Now there is no I in the formula, but the I is really the replacement of this guy, R over N. Now be careful, this N is not the N we have in the first formula, but it's replacing the M, which is the compounding period in a year. So you have to be very careful that the new variable now N is the number of compounding period in a year. And then as you can see, the exponent here is N, but here we have N times T. Now, if N is really the replacement of M, then it's M times T. So it's pretty much the same thing, except that some textbook will write it this way. It will redefine this portion, so it's less writing, I guess. And then the exponent, we just keep it as a one variable, rather N times T. So just be mindful how the two things can change depending on preference, depending on what the textbook uses in the course that you're taking. So let me show you how to use this formula with one example. You can run the same formula, same problem with this formula as well. You'll get the same value, exact same value. So depending on, again, like I said, it's on your preference. You'll see a lot of my YouTube videos uses this formula. I personally like that one. But today I'm going to show you how to use this one. That way you can get comfortable using that formula as well. So an investment of $18,000 grows to 22,625.36 cents over 8 years, earning annual compound interest. What is the annual interest rate? All right, so that is what we're looking for, the interest rate. So we're looking for R. R is our question mark. Now, based on the problem, we can see our principal amount, the amount we start with is 18,000. then it grows to 22 and change. So that's your A, the future value, 22,625.36 in 8 years. So that makes T to be 8, then compounded annually. So the M is going to be 1 because we're compounding only once a year. All right, so once we have these guys, now let's go ahead and write down the formula. So we know our formula is equal to A is equal to P times 1 plus I over N. So that means I need to figure out what is I and what is N. Let's go ahead and do those calculations separately here. So I is going to be the rate over compounding period. The rate is, we don't know. So I guess I'll have to keep it as R. M is 1, so that means this is just R. Then the next thing we need is N. Well, N is going to be M times T. M is 1, T is 8, so that makes it N to be 8. So let's go ahead and substitute them. So we know, we almost know everything. We just need the R to be determined. So we have 22,625.36 is equal to P, that's 18,000 times 1 plus I, that's just R, to the power of M times T, so that will be 8. And now we solve for it. So hopefully this makes sense. And you can do the same setup with the other formula I have mentioned earlier. The other one is A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N to the power of NT, and then you make the replacement accordingly. I'm going to erase this since I'm not using that one for this problem. Okay, so now we do our calculation. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 18,000 first. So we have 22,625.36 divided by 18,000 is equal to 1 plus R to the power of 8. Now, feel free to use your calculator to get the decimal of this. I'm going to put everything at once, so do the calculation at the end. Now, I take the 8th root on both sides to get rid of the exponent. So I will have everything raised to 1 over 8th power, or 8th root of this number, 22,625.36 over 18,000. Is equal to 1 plus R. Now that it is isolated almost, I can solve for R by subtracting 1. So R is equal to simply all of this value. So again, feel free to put it in your calculator, all of that, and then I subtracted 1, so minus 1. That will give you the R value, which will come out to be 0.028999 repeated. Now, the problem doesn't mention how much we should round, so I'm going to round it to, I guess, to 3 decimal places. So our R in percentage would be, so to convert it to percentage, you move the decimal 2 places to the right, or you multiply by 100 as you like to remember it that way. I'll say this will be about 2.9%. That will be the interest rate. All right, so feel free to try out the other version of the same formula. That way you can get the same answer, and also you can feel comfortable. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care, everyone.